Right. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 61 weekly meeting. This is our 12th weekly meeting. It has been the format. We have the public televised portion here where we give an update on the schedule, work that's been done, work that's going to be done, and then just some other general project updates. We answer any questions that those in attendance may have, address any concerns, and then we close the public portion and then just have a more project-specific closed door meeting. So with that, I can turn it over to Ryan and give us a schedule update, and then I have a few comments and we can answer any questions. So take it away, Ryan, if you would.
All right, thanks, Corey. Well, this last week's been pretty rough weather-wise out there. Everybody probably well aware, but that's delayed our progress right now. Right now, we're looking to make the traffic switch from the, well, I guess they're driving in the northbound lanes right now, switch them over to driving the southbound lanes. We're looking at probably this weekend to make that switch, if everything holds between now and then. And then, of course, we'd come back in next week and hit the other side of the road with the removal of the surfaces and the new laterals, the rest of the water main and sewer main that have to go in up there at the end, and getting all the electrical done and the signals all tidied up and moving on down the road. I think, if everything goes well between now and this weekend, we should be pretty well buttoned up on that southbound side of the road and moving over to the north.
So just a few things I can add to that. The switch from the north to the south side, I think we've talked about this for a couple weeks now, but the intent is that all the south side streets are resumed open, driveways to south side businesses are open, and then that I think the intent here right now is that Fulton would be the main thoroughfare, that'd be the main signalized intersection for crossing 61 and getting on 61 from the side streets. It's going to operate very similar to how the south side's operated. We're just working now on the north side. And then the south side's open. The south side businesses will have right in, right out to their businesses. And like I said, Fulton. The intent is that Fulton remains open for the majority of the northbound phase. We will have to close it at some point to build Fulton, just like we've kind of flip-flopped between Franklin and Fulton. So beyond that, just some other updates. We were able to get Broad Street open before the holiday weekend. We restored the pedestrian crossing out to Broad Street. So that has a striped crossing and has some red time on 61, and enough time for the pedestrians to get across there at the Chamber and the Y. So finally made true on our promise to get that open, and then the work in Old West Main is progressed. We got the water main done, a little bit of storm sewer there to remain, and once we make the switch over to the north side, we'll be able to finish that work there too as well. So. Just kind of some updates. I don't know, Jay and Ron, if you have any concerns or anything you'd like me to elaborate on.
I would like to ask Ryan, when that switch happens this weekend, if everything holds, you talk about business access. That's right into those driveways along there. Are they going to be poured? Are they going to be poured this week, or is that going to kind of work its way into after the switch? I can't imagine that every apron is going to be poured along the south side and be open from Johnson Schofield all the way down to Econo Foods.
Right.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, what the plan was to get everything that we can't reach from the intersections done prior to making the traffic switch. So if it's something that can be reached from, from Franklin, the closed part, then we might have to leave that portion closed. So if it's an access off of 61 in the middle of the block, the intent is to have that open.
Okay.
That's right. I was thinking too. Some of those are going to be poured like on, say, Thursday or Friday. They should be barreled off come Sunday, I would think. So we aren't letting people in and out of those within a 2-day period of when it was poured. We're not getting our strengths within 2 days. I can't believe.
I think we've been hitting them within 2 days. So, I mean, we'd have to wait and see what the concrete breaks are before we really open those up. They might have barrels across them for a day or two,
Yeah.
waiting for the breaks to come up, but most of them have been hitting it within 2 days.
Okay.
I'd rather
Well,
be
let's just
safe-
make sure
safe
that,
than sorry.
get them poured, barrel them until we know we've got good aprons and good sidewalk for people to drive into those businesses. I know it's a little bit more inconvenience, but we want a good product.
It is only a couple days, but I think it'd be worth barreling them.
Yeah.
If they're poured on Thursday or Friday, personally, but.
Yep.
And then one other thing that I was thinking about before the switch, did we get the conductivity testing done on the water main?
No, we didn't get that done.
Are you going to do that this week yet, before we switch traffic on top of the main, so that you can reach the valves and stuff if that's where you're connecting to, or how? When was the testing going to be done on it?
Do you have any idea when the plan is to do that? I mean, what we're going to do is hit it with a Metrotech. So, I mean, we need to do it before traffic's on the road. So we'd have to get that done this week.
Okay. Coordinate that with Jared?
Yep, we can do
Okay.
that.
All right. Because otherwise, it's going to be tough when traffic's out there and if you have to hook onto a valve anywhere.
And Ryan, you just reminded me, you just delivered the sewer camera work, and you have just one item to clean up on one of the
Right.
sewer lines.
And that-
Imagine that you'll do that, try to get that done as well?
I can be
or-
able to. No, the TV guy, same guy that does the jetting, he's booked up. He'll have to come back at the end. We'll have to do a closure around him.
Okay,
And we'll just do a one-lane barreled off closure around him when he needs to do his work at the end.
okay. We've got that camera work, Jerry and Steve. Corey's going to look through it. Just got delivered today, and then we'll get it to our you guys utilities to look through. But there was just one issue with some gravel that we need to clean out of one of the lines. So that's where he was talking about the jet rotting.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else, Ron or Jay? Or?
Not that I can think of right now.
Maybe just give a little bit more update on the work going on directly at Old West Main. What's been done, what's still left to be done for the underground, and kind of schedule in there.
Sure. What we did do there was we got the work that's outside of the northbound lanes of 61 completed. Water-wise, we still have to come across on both ends, of both the north and south end of that little finger out there, and connect that onto what we did on the southbound lanes. So there's a casing pipe that's got to go in north of that intersection, north of the Old West Main and 61 intersection. That'll have the carrier pipe through it, connecting on that end, and then down on the south end of that, I don't know, the auto guy's driveway there.
Yep.
See
Yep.
We got to come across and tie into Cedar over on that end. So there's still a little bit of work up there, water main wise, and that's really the only water main that remains on this phase one of the project. Aside from the intersections where we just go straight across and tie into the live line across there, the sewer is still left out at that Cedar, so we still need to get the Cedar tie-in made. When we make the traffic switch, we'll focus on
Sanitary
both of those.
sewer.
The sewer, yeah, the sanitary sewer. When we make the traffic switch, those will be the two first focal points, so we can get that water running and get that sewer. Right now, they're pumping and dumping up off of Cedar, so we'll get that stopped, and then we'll work on the storm and all the services coming down towards Broad Street.
Okay. You're going to start the storm in the Old West Main area. Once that, it sounds like there needs to be some electrical moved out of the way.
Just what's going to be taken out from the lights,
Okay.
and it's new coming in there, so the old stuff.
Yeah, so I guess it's probably a fair time to elaborate on that right now. The Old West Main signal is being completely reconstructed. It's getting the old system being completely removed, new systems being completely reinstalled, from signal cabinet to all the mast arms. Everything there is being redone, and so the one I don't want to call it a challenge, but the one consideration to just that needs to be thought through is how that transition happens from the old system to the new system. And the existing system in place does have some conflict with some of the new storm sewer. And so I think that the plan is to terminate that signal, basically kill the power to it. The one thing, just like I said, to keep in mind is that the south side mast arms, signal poles, those aren't going to be installed before the shift, which means they can't be worked on again until the roadway is completely back open. And so then it's just the understanding that once the existing system's down, we now have a roadway that's back open, and how does traffic control operate through there while the new signal's installed. And so I think the one consideration to that is we just keep Old West Main closed for a few more days. Basically just allow 61 to continue through like it is now with no signalized. And then we'd install the new system, and then we could restore the left turn into Old West Main. So that's the only thing we're just trying to make sure that we have full understanding of, is how we go from a full open roadway to now a signalized roadway. But so I think that being said, we're just going to cut the power, bag the heads, and then it would stay that way until the new system's back operational, which is the only caveat, means Old West Main's got to be closed just a few days past the full opening of 61. So not sure how else that can really be accomplished.
So are you talking
Talking
full opening, you talking August?
Yeah, that's right. That's
20th?
exactly correct. Yep. So whatever that date when the concrete's been restored enough that we can open 61, we'll have to do right lane closures on the outsides of the highway to get the new signal system installed at Old West Main, to get it finalized. And then at that time we can open Old West Main. Otherwise, there'll be no signal there to direct that left turn movement.
What about opening it up prior to at least a right-in on Old West Main? As long
Certainly,
as we have all
that's-
the pavement in place on
That's
Old
correct.
West Main?
And that certainly would
That'd
be
be
the
a feed to
intent.
that area.
That's exactly right. That you would keep two delineators right through 61 separating north and southbound. It'd be a right in, right out on Old West Main. It just literally would not have a southbound left turn bucket.
Because there would be no signal.
That's
at the
correct.
intersection,
There'd be no
but
way
we
for-
could still get traffic flow down there.
That's
for
right.
those area businesses.
Yep. That's a good clarification, and that is 100% the intent.
Okay.
Yeah, one other, just an FYI, CP Rail approached us and wanted to close the two crossings on Jackson Street and Broad Street to do crossing upgrades here next week.
They moved in their materials, in fact.
Yeah, they've actually moved in materials and stuff down there and equipment, and we've asked them to move that out to September so that we've got Highway 61 open again and Old West Main is functioning, because there's no other way to get around it if those two crossings are closed. So they have said they'll work on our crossings in September, but the materials that are down there by Levy Road at the corner of Jackson and Levy are going to be used for other crossings between here and Lake City. They'll be shuffling them up on boxcars. So don't worry if you see a lot of materials down there. I saw that there this morning and I thought, oh no. So we called them and they assured us that that's just being a staging area for the rest of their crossings right now. So they won't be doing our crossings until September. That was kind of a shock when they wanted to do that.
All right. Are there any questions from anybody in attendance? Any concerns or items we didn't cover? We could cover a little more thoroughly. I guess with that, if Jeff, do you want to give a quick update on your project?
Yeah, absolutely. Rain has been hindering things a little bit in our world as well. Paving operation was scheduled to start last Tuesday, and they really only got started this morning. The rains in other locations were kind of holding them up getting in here. But on the north side of town, as you've seen, we've got a lot of the milling operation going, and now they started paving today. So tried to pin them down a little bit on schedule. They're thinking 12 or 13 more days of work to get the paving accomplished on the north side of town. So obviously, if it rains, they don't pave. So I'm not asking for calendar days anymore. I'm talking about days of work on my project, so we can kind of get a feel. It's about 12 or 13 more days, and then there's be various other striping and shouldering operations that have to take place. But hopefully, the traffic control can lighten up a little bit on the north side of town here the next couple weeks, or about 3 weeks from now. On the south side of town, right before the holiday, they rushed as fast as they could to get that temporary signal down at Wacota removed for the holiday weekend, and they were able to do that. There's a little bit of striping and shouldering work that will still need to take place there, but it shouldn't be too impactful when they start that. The biggest thing that's been instituted this week was the work now starts in earnest at Sevastopol with that left turn lane. The detour is in place now, so northbound traffic's being detoured onto Flower Valley Road and then onto Highway 58. So that's going to be in place until that work is done. So we had 18 working days in the contract. They expect to be done quicker than that, but there's still going to be probably 2 to 3 weeks that's going to be sitting there. So been a little bit of confusion already this morning. We're kind of looking at what we can do to improve things for people. On that very south end, it's a standard practice to have that detour barricade right in the middle of the road, and that was causing some site problems. So we're getting that moved now. So it's off to the side of the road. But we have had some people coming from the south, going past those barricades, thinking they can get all the way into town. And when that happens, our operation shuts down while we take all the workers and get them over there and get those cars spun around. So there is one lane of traffic coming through. The southbound traffic still stays on 61. So that traffic is not, there'll be one lane there as opposed to two, but southbound still comes through. The northbound gets detoured onto Flower Valley Road. So it's a little bit of a confusing operation, but it seems to be the best way to handle it in this particular spot, being especially with the truck traffic coming in out of Semstone. So that's going to be the way it'll be for a few weeks while that work is getting accomplished. So we ask for people's understanding. There's literally only about a mile from where that detour is to where you can drive. There's not many people getting past that south barricade. There's a few homes in there, a business or two, but not many. You're not going to get to Semstone from that direction. So if that kind of gives people some idea of how far you can go, a mile's not very far. So you will not get into town. You will not get to Goville Park. You will not get through. There's very few people should be going past that barricade there. So it's a pain. It's understandable. We got a culvert we got to replace there particularly, and all that grading to make that left turn lane at Sevastopol. So we ask for patience and understanding, and we'll get this done as fast as we possibly can. So
Jeff, it looked like there was a lot of, I knew the culvert replacement, but it must be re-ditching through there too. Was there a bunch of cleaning out of that northerly ditch line?
Well, there were several different access points along that old concrete route there of Highway 61, and so we're closing off all those other access points permanently. So that's kind of where all that ditch grading kind of looks like, and there was some cleaning out to do there too. But in that access, all that little frontage road, if you will, there'll only be one access off there now. That'll be access to Sevastopol itself.
Okay.
So all those others, that's where a lot of that looks like it happened.
Yeah.
They tried to do that. They tried to do that before we got to this closure, so all that's taken care of now. But all those closures are permanent closures.
Now, all the widening of making that center turn lane is all coming to the north side. That's why that all got wiped out, that bit. All the topsoil strip.
Correct. So,
One thing, Jeff, did you talk to the contractor about the signage up in Upper Burnside after that?
yeah, that's a good thing to put. Now that all that new concrete's been poured up on the Upper Burnside area and those various side streets that were closed off, there is some conflicting signing there right now. I guess we never thought about that when we first got done. So obviously there's about 3 or 4 of them now that you can't make the left turn out of. So we're in the process of getting those signs removed and trying to get some new signs up. So they're on their way in now. Got to get some. They want to make a full day's worth of work out of doing some of that signing. So those divided highway signs at least will be removed today for sure. And then they got to get the one-way street signs on the other side of the road there to direct them. They'll be put in as soon as possible. So they'll hopefully have that done here by Friday for sure.
Maybe even if they throw barrels out in the middle until that time would
Yeah,
help.
if it's going to be a little bit, we can get a temporary
Yeah.
sign put up there with that one-way. So yeah, we recognize there's a little conflicts there. So
Okay, thank you.
we'll get that taken care of.
Any questions for Jeff on the overlay?
I have one. The overlay project, will that be extending the Sevastopol or the Wacota Road?
It stops. It's not quite not all the way to Wacota. Actually, Wacota and Sevastopol were a separate project at one time, and then we kind of combined them. I have to think exactly where where that is. I think it's actually short of Semstone, believe it or not.
There's a fair portion of that was that's newer. That was done when the county did Flower Valley Road, and they added those lanes in there. So that's, of course, we're not redoing that.
Right.
Yeah, it's in good shape, and
We'll probably
so
connect, yeah, we'll connect with that.
That's what I kind
Yeah.
of remembered from the plan, is that's where that connection occurs and onto that new pavement, so it'll be good.
The paving south, when we get through the north side of town, then we go to the south, there's actually, it's not all the way through because we did the bridge at the Colville Park entrance.
Nemphara.
Lane last year, so there was a big piece of paving that was done there. So it's kind of from there south to where we end here in town, and I'm talking about that a little more. There's a couple other little sections, so it's going to be kind of spotty in through there just to kind of clean all that up. And so I think there's been a series of small little projects that paved portions of it, but not everything, so.
Yeah,
That spot, we'll find out.
Yeah, it's. I think if you look at it right now, you'll see where the new pavement is. If anything's new, we're not going to redo it. If it
Yeah.
looks, there's sections out there much older than the others. So
Yep.
you're still planning to skip where the High Bridge project will be too?
at this point, yes, I haven't gotten around to making that full conversation. There is a section in town where the new bridge project will be in 2017 that we're omitting at this point, since it's going to be tore up right away, I guess, in 2017. I've hinting towards looking into whether we want to do it. It's in pretty rough shape right now. If there's anything we want to do that wouldn't cost too much money, just to smooth it out for the next couple of years.
Whether it's just some patching or just a real thin overlay, just
Thin
something.
overlay.
It's really right when you start coming down into town underneath the bridge there, the
It's
63 bridge over the top of 61.
Both sides coming in and going out.
Going out, yeah.
The left lane going out is really bad.
Right. So I got to make that phone call. It's gonna be a few extra dollars, and I got to make sure the people that have the checkbook are in agreement with what I would do. So.
Any other questions for either project here? Well, anything to add, Jerry or Steve, on the utilities or water main? You got it? Okay. Ron, you got anything else? Well, I will mention I have been I've been working with Old West Main businesses as far as signing and different things. That's continuing with that closure, and I think I just want to encourage people to still use Old West Main. You can get there from Bench Street or Withers Harbor and Jackson. You can get in and out. So, I mean, businesses are open, and we're trying to convey that with many different types of signs. Some of their own signs are putting up. Some we're putting up as construction signage. So, just want to make sure everyone knows that, and we're going to keep access into that area throughout the project, and hopefully we can get to it where we open it up at least to a write-in soon, and then full opening when we get the signal done, as we discussed. So, all right, with that, thank you for coming.